Marcel, where are you going with that disc? You are not putting that on again. Marcel, okay, if you press that button, you are in very, very big trouble.
Attention. Everybody stop what you're doing. It's time for The Unwritten Rule, a Mizzou sports podcast brought to you by the Believe Network, alongside Payton Haverman and Kenny Van Doren. Here is your host, Jack Knowlton.
Welcome back to The Unwritten Rule presented by FanDuel. Today is Friday, May 1st. Happy May, everybody. Getting closer to that.
Happy Fry May.
There you go. Getting closer to that June summer fever. Today's Friday, May 1st. And gentlemen, Disco ZOU is coming to you. That is a joke made only for Adam Cole. I hope he listens to this or sees the tweet that I put out in the Unwritten account. I will say nothing further on that. We got some firsthand nuggets from a couple of Mizzou higher-ups. Yeah, I knew you would like that.
Oh, man, grow up.
I put that in the script and said and smiled.
Gross.
We got some firsthand accounts or some we had a man on the scene at the ZOU 2U event over in St. Louis with a bunch of higher ups in the Mizzou athletic spheres, a bunch of coaches, Laird Veatch, the AD, the one, the only Kenny Van Doren. You were there, Kenny. I'll let you talk about whichever first. Obviously, you spoke to Eli Drinkwitz. I know you wrote one story about some of the players that he talked about at this tour. Of course, kind of a good opportunity for people to check in with Drinkwitz and Dennis Gates and you know, in the midst of the offseason when the opportunities to talk to him are, of course, slim. Laird Veatch, I believe, also spoke as well. So I'll throw it to you first. Would you like to talk about what did Drinkwitz say? What did Laird Veatch say? What do the people need to know? Why was it important that ZOU came to you?
Yeah. I always think it's funny too that they say they're in St. Louis when they're not, but I guess I did see you attribute that or
yeah,
I mean that's where I was. That's where my feet were when I was asking those questions. Later there was a couple things he was asked about. Of course, the NCAA Tournament expansion has been the talk this week, and we'll get to that on a Mizzou perspective and just an entire college basketball perspective. He was kind of on in the group of saying that expansion is appropriate. It's been debated in a lot of ways, and there's like a lot of ways to handle it. And Mizzou, similar to something that Dennis Gates added as well, is that it can be a positive thing for a Mizzou team that might be on the fence. If you go back a couple years and a team that was probably around that 20 win mark, maybe a little bit below, but hasn't been that case in the Dennis Gates era. He's either been lost every game in conference play or he's been in the NCAA tournament. So hasn't really been as applicable during the Dennis Gates era. He said the same thing about, college football expansion. It's kind of one of those things that you just continue to push and figure out how it benefits you the most. And for a school like Missouri, I mean, that would be probably a big bonus as well. I guess a couple other things that really stood out to me is that when he was talking about the naming rights for the stadium, and that's been a big topic of conversation, is that Mizzou's not necessarily in a rush to do it. The athletic department is doing its due diligence and going through it, and possibly could not even be announced before the start of the season. So I think that was something that really caught my ear about, that they'll take their time with it too and try to get the right name. And it's kind of just the same thing that goes with the jersey patches as well. It's a big deal to have that opportunity, and they want to use the right companies for both of those.
So we're still in line for the Payton Haverman Memorial Stadium. The Payton Haverman Memorial, not actually Memorial Stadium.
Unmemorial?
Yeah.
Was there any talk about possibly doing that for Mizzou Arena? I know that's another thing that's been floated because it is literally named Mizzou Arena, which I think is awesome, but I recognize that in this day and age, probably missing out on a fair chunk of change doing that.
Yeah, it didn't come up at all. It seemed like more of the focus, and even Drinkwitz fielded a question about the naming rights and just kind of the updates of the stadium. And He gave a lot of credit to how quickly it's been going. And he said that, he's always looking at it through his office window. And if you guys don't know, like his office is right on the south end zone in the newer facility there. You can look out and see it. He said he drove around it when he dropped his daughters off at school, and said, it's coming by really quick, but he's leaving that all up to Laird Veatch and in the athletic department. But it didn't come up in any of the conversations really. And it'll be a long process, and this direct quote from him, it's a major investment. So I don't necessarily see us making an announcement before this year with the naming rights for Memorial Stadium.
So it'll take some time. And yeah, I guess we'll see what the future holds for Mizzou Arena, because that's a good point, Payton. It probably will happen eventually. It's sort of a matter of probably when, not if, for the future of both of those. I am getting very excited. I have not done a construction update in a while on the headline, which I need to revisit. But I'm getting very excited about seeing the renderings. I see other people are too. I've been seeing AI photos of people putting the columns in front of it and all that stuff, which I don't mind having a chuckle at. But
I will point out, this was a question I was going to ask him and got beat to it. But the one that I was really intrigued by is that you see it across Power 4 sports now, where tennis or golf or some of these non-revenue sports are either getting axed or in consideration to be axed. I thought Laird Veatch had a pretty good response to it. We're fortunate to be in a situation where that is not in consideration for us. So I think that's good for the future of those programs. Sure, there hasn't been as much success for some of them, but Payton's going to talk about in quick hits. One of those non-revenue sports is advancing to a pretty big postseason event. So that plays into it as well.
That's good to hear. I know, like, that's just kind of where college sports are heading. A lot of people are talking about in this rev share era. Nowadays, a lot of these athletic directors are looking at these sports in a spreadsheet. And a fair number have cut tennis. Arkansas cut tennis, SLU cut tennis. Illinois State cut one of their tennis teams, I believe. It's kind of demoralizing in a way to see just kind of that happening, because I know that a lot of fans are going to look at it well, every dime that's not going to football or basketball is a waste. I can't really get there with college athletics. It's a very different feel to me in the college game. It's not supposed to really feel like it's all about money and cutting sports to make sure football has whatever it needs. So I'm glad to hear that Missouri's not looking at that at the moment.
I won't filibuster on that too much either, but I have sort of grown a appreciation for the perspective that Payton's sharing too, especially like in my time recently in my latest professional line of work of covering high school sports, and just seeing how much passion kids have for, like, especially those sports, even though, football and basketball, where they might not be going to a D1 school or a big time program, but still want to have the opportunity to play those sports beyond high school, knowing full well, like, they're not going to become professionals. They're going to go into the real world like we all do. So I don't know, for big major colleges to still provide that runway to have something for those high school kids to work towards, I think is still a very good and very important thing. Because there's a whole ecosystem there too. I mean, if there's not, Division I opportunities in things like tennis and track and cross country, soccer, a lot of those other sports, like, that's going to get kids might not want to go out or compete as hard in at the high school level, which I think, hurts, sports culture in this country too.
Heck, it might be a positive for Mizzou in the end, from a recruiting perspective. If a lot of these other schools, especially regionally, school like Arkansas isn't going to be, funding that program. What if those kids want to stay closer to home? And that answer is at Missouri. Missouri will recruit them and offer them a scholarship as well. A lot of, dominoes need to fall in a certain way, but it is a big positive to keep those programs alive.
It is interesting, and Payton maybe can speak to it now, or maybe more even in quick hits if it applies there. But I do look at sports like tennis and golf and even soccer, where you can go like pro so young that it's like the best of the best aren't necessarily going to college, or college isn't even the best path for them. It's interesting looking at those sports from from this angle with that in mind, that like a lot of kids in those sports will just like go pro right away, or go overseas or whatever, because it's just the better avenue. That is interesting as well. But that's a little bit of the administrative side of things, Kenny. How about on the field? I know you wrote about Eli Drinkwitz, talked about a couple of transfers, Kamarion Morgan, Mark Hensley. On the defensive side of the ball, what did he say about those two individuals that is important to know heading into the summer? Two guys it feels like might need to be important, or at least rotational guys potentially with some injuries.
I went to this event last year, and one question I used for Drinkwitz, and I think I prefaced it was, can you speak about Jalen Early? Because this was when there was still a spring transfer window. I don't think he had officially signed yet, but Drinkwitz said he could. And you're talking about late guys there. Kind of looked like maybe that was done. That we wouldn't see that again. And Missouri still added 2 guys in March via different routes. Hensley entered the transfer portal because Thomas Hammock, the head coach at NIU, left for the NFL, which opened up a transfer window. With Cam Morgan, a little bit of a different case. He was more in portal limbo as he was overcoming an academic hurdle. And then Drinkwitz gave a lot of credit to the front office for able to have him enrolled and still complete 8 weeks, an 8-week semester, and get some credit for this year, even though he wasn't around for the entire year. So for half of this past semester, he just wasn't at school because he was still waiting out, trying to find the best spot. He ends up at Mizzou, and I really enjoyed talking with him and the story he gave me about committing to Mizzou. And so we asked about both of them, and there's been a lot of positive feedback about Cam Morgan. He's going to be a rising sophomore edge rusher coming over from Baylor. Didn't have the most, production in the stat sheet, but still has a lot of physical traits, and they liked what they're seeing so far. Some positive reviews from Brian Early and Coach Russell, the strength coach, and they've liked what they've seen, and it seems like they're just excited to see what he looks like in pads and get him out on the field. And these walkthroughs have been very positive for him because he didn't get to partake in spring practice and, put on those pads and run through a lot of those plays. So a lot of these walkthroughs offered him opportunities to get in with that defensive scheme. With Hensley, I kind of left this part out of the quote. I did the ellipses just because Drinkwitz kind of went on this tangent and then asked people for help with naming guys that left the state of the Missouri and then transferred to Mizzou. And he was, naming them, and he just forgot Kevin Coleman. He was like, yeah, you're right, Kevin Coleman. Someone just gave him that name. But he went down a list of guys, that came back to Mizzou: Toriano Pride, Kevin Coleman. I mean, the list goes on and on. Caden Green, I'm doing the same thing he exactly did in his interview. And he said the same with Mark Hensley, is that, they didn't recruit him really out of high school. He went to NIU. I think he wore a C on his chest at some point as well. Played a lot of football there, entered the portal. And he gave some credit to Jake Bresky as well in that player development, player personnel and recruiting role to figure out the best way to get him on campus as quickly as they could. And he's not enrolled right now, but he did officially visit earlier this month and should be with the Tigers, once the summer break begins. Washington, Missouri grad as well.
Yeah,
there's the connection.
Payton, I don't know if you have any thoughts there with either of those two guys. Obviously, 2 interesting situations. We always talk about those guys like Hensley who are brought in for a specific reason or because of a specific injury, but obviously getting the chance to compete for some reps. And then, of course, with Morgan, someone who Drinkwitz still has to see in pads, but they're always going to say they like what they see on or to the media front facing, but there's a reason, you recruit those guys. And of course, Virginia Tech, no slouch of a program going after them either.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, not 2 guys that I would necessarily expect to have a huge impact this year. But I mean, D-line is kind of shaky to me right now. It might be the shakiest position on the team. Elias Williams going down doesn't help that. So certainly smart add there. Edge rusher. Honestly, I think those are the 2 positions where I have the most questions. So getting someone that you maybe hope can develop. Certainly it seems like a guy that down the line could grow into a contributor rather than be an instant impact guy. I think to be able to get those 2 types of guys late in the portal is certainly nothing to sneeze at.
Definitely not. So we'll see what happens with the future of Mizzou's defensive line. But for now, we have to circle back to something Kenny mentioned earlier that was a topic of conversation and is now a topic of national conversation and prominence. And, well, our national nightmare has arrived. A couple days ago, Pete Thamel announcing the NCAA tournament field is expanding from 68 to 76 teams. Beginning next year, they're already trying to implement this in the big 2026-2027 season. This sucks. I think this is going to be a lot of us saying it sucks. But, as a group or a trio of college basketball fans and followers, as a podcast that's following a college basketball team on the men's side that has some pretty high aspirations when it comes to being in and competing in the NCAA tournament, we'll now have to fulfill those aspirations in a 76-team field, Payton. 12 more teams coming to the field of 68, making it a field of 76.
I'm going to zag where you both zig here. I think this is great, and here's why. TV networks are going to make so much more money. That's so awesome for us, guys. Us as consumers. Oh my gosh, think of all the money True TV is going to make. It's Impractical Jokers, 13 seed California versus 13 seed Oklahoma State play-in. How, as a consumer, can we not love that for True TV? No, despite the sarcasm, I had been kind of resigned to this in general. It's just the way things are nowadays. It does not seem like any postseason format or really any decision in college athletics anymore is made with fans in mind. It really is just so power hungry and money hungry. A lot of the time it feels like this is, nobody was seriously asking for this. Like, I know Dennis Gates and some other coaches probably love it because it's going to get a whole lot more crappy high majors in. I'm not saying Missouri was on the bubble last year per se, but I mean, do we need teams like Oklahoma last year would have not even been sweating Selection Sunday. Auburn would not have been sweating Selection Sunday.
Can I read the at-large thing that we've all seen, but in case people haven't seen, to illustrate that fact? From Kevin Sweeney, this would have been the 12-team or first 12, which is what this is going to be now. Number 13 seed Arizona State versus number 13 Cal. Number 12 Oklahoma State versus number 12 Virginia Tech.
Kenny, you want to click on it?
Number 12 Indiana versus number 12 Oklahoma. Number 11 Auburn versus number 11 San Diego State. And then the ones that happened, he included as well: SMU versus Miami, Ohio, and Texas versus NC State. This, of course, the headliner, if you articulate it to last year, the first ever one team one game above 500 would be in the NCAA tournament. They would be in as an 11 seed. There are 6 teams in with seeds below that team.
Number 13 Arizona State, number 13 California, Oklahoma State, Virginia Tech. Who wants this? Now, I'll give the committee a little rope here. I actually kind of dig the 16s and half the 15s being play-ins. The reason why is when those teams win those games, it's enormous for the school and enormous for their conference. It actually helps them a lot. So I don't necessarily mind it from that. Does that kind of maybe weaken the chance of seeing a 16 over a 1 and a 15 over 2? Maybe, but it really it wasn't happening much anyways. So I don't necessarily hate that part of it. I really don't love that teams like Arizona State was so bad last year. I don't think people realize how bad they were. Indiana, nobody wants to see last year's Indiana in the tournament, but whatever. I had kind of resigned to it. It's all silly. It's ridiculous. Whatever. It is what it is.
No one has your best interest. I mean, this is just another example of it. It doesn't, I mean, this is applicable to everything in life. If there's more money, they're going to go after it. I mean, there's a reason it expanded to 68 in the first place. I mean, that's just how it's going to roll moving forward. And it's unfortunate. You see it across every sport. And, you know, every sport is trying to get more TV deals, no matter if that's with Netflix or Peacock or anything else. There's just going to be, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe we get games on subscription platforms, you know, not just regular cable TV. I mean, that could possibly be in the future as well. I have no reporting of that, but I'm sure that's also, you know, in the mind as well. It's like, what if there's a game between Texas and UCLA? It's two pretty big fan bases. Or if we put that on Netflix, I don't know. I mean, these are just ideas, and probably
that's a
cross their
really
minds
good
as well.
point. That's a really good point. I didn't think about that. I don't know. It seems like the CBS family of networks, their deal seems to work different, because I don't know how they've like continued to have the tournament for so long and another group of television. It might just be because they have the channels able, like the collection of channels able to show all those games at once, and other networks that do sports don't. I don't know. But yeah, that's a really good point, is if, you know, Amazon or Netflix puts in enough of a bid to say, give us some of these games, or give us a 5-12 every year, or a you know, second round 5-4 game or something. I've been losing it watching the NBA playoffs, or not watching the NBA playoffs because I don't have Amazon, and missing some of that. That's a really good point. I didn't think about that. Yeah, you guys go ahead.
Yeah, I think, doesn't CBS and all of its properties have all the rights right now? So maybe that's something that does cross whenever that contract ends.
But they're Paramount.
Yeah, I guess you're right too.
Paramount Plus.
I hate that sports fans even have to think about stuff like this, but it's the reality we live in. I also love that Kevin pointed out, like, thank goodness we get this Oklahoma State Virginia Tech matchup that I just can't stop staring at, because I mean, those teams were so bad. I wouldn't watch that game. I really wouldn't. If it were a standalone, I wouldn't watch it. But I mean, even with this, because of the way the net works, teams like Belmont, New Mexico, and Yale probably still don't get in as at-larges, which is insane. A few years ago, like right before the net came out, like the last team left out was a really good mid-major UNCG team. That would never happen today, even with this expanded tournament. And those are more the types of teams I'd love to see like get grabbed into this. Not Arizona State, not Oklahoma, not Virginia Tech. I'm taking a lot of shots at Virginia Tech, but geez, nobody wants to see Oklahoma State, Virginia Tech. Nobody. Those teams can go home. We don't care.
I got a couple follow-ups.
Yeah.
Do we start wearing black now for the NIT funeral? I mean, it's over. Right. It's already a dying tournament. It has to be
the crown will rule.
It will. I will say the NIT has kind of leaned more into just being the mid-major palooza. Like, credit to Auburn.
Which it should, when none of these teams can get in the actual tournament.
I know, but now I don't know how much it'll actually change the NIT. Like, credit to Auburn. They went and played and won the thing. But most high major teams that miss narrowly are already declining it. So I kind of think the NIT will be okay. They're just going to have to lean even further into being like this mid-major showcase, which is sad because the NIT at one time was like full of like at least kind of fun high majors that missed the tournament, and they'd play their championship in Madison Square Garden. But those days are long gone for that tournament, I'm afraid.
I do hope that, you know, when we talk metrics, that this wins above bubble thing that people are pushing more and more will help the mid majors. You know, the teams like Miami and like Payton was talking about, Belmont and some of those others. Indiana State a couple of years ago, I know people have turned to as a team that would have gotten into this if it had existed in that 2024 season. So I'm hopeful about that. Cast your minds back to the canceled year, 2020, COVID tournament. Missouri was 15-16. It had its first round SEC tournament game against Texas A&M canceled. If it wins that game, is it a tournament team in the 12-team field? Don't know.
No, but they're in Lenardi's bracketology, which is unbelievable.
That team finished 7-11 in conference play.
Yeah.
I really hope
7-11 though.
I really hope this offseason, if this gets passed or whenever it gets passed, that a lot of those accounts can go back and look at who the teams would be. Because in my mind now, when you see the bracketology that ESPN will put out or whoever it may be, you're going to see like the first four out, the teams are going to be awful. Like I'm sorry to say that they like record wise, they were going to be some of the worst teams in college basketball.
Think about the teams that'll be in the considered category.
Yeah, you're gonna have to reframe your brain if it already wasn't hard enough to kind of discern who might drop. I mean, we had a whale of a time doing that with Mizzou, when they were in and around bubble status that season. So, yeah, this is happening. So we'll have to get used to it. Very frustrating, but we'll see how it goes.
Question for Kenny right before we move on, jumping back to that 2020 tournament. Notably, in that 2020 tournament, Dayton was going to be a 1 seed. How far do you think Dayton would have gone in that tournament?
I mean, they had Obi.
They did have Obi.
And two
Elite Eight.
Wow, Elite Eight. All right.
Well done.
I mean, I'm an Obi fan. He played for our favorite team. Is he still in the Pacers? I haven't watched a game this year.
No, I think they traded him. Or no, is he still there?
I believe he's still there.
I wore a Pacers shirt today, Payton. Our Pacers.
Yes,
Can't
sirs.
wait till next year.
Yes, sirs. Tyrese is back, and we're getting a lottery pick, I think.
You're gonna you're gonna get like the second pick. You guys,
we're gonna get Darren Peterson. Bing bong.
Don't know that.
Bing bong, Jackie.
Moving on. More Mizzou men's basketball news. More directly related to Mizzou men's basketball. We have another name to mention real quick before we go to quick hits. Finally, another guard prospect to look at. I have updated my list, by the way, with some commitments, so I will run through that quickly before we go to break.
God dang it.
That was rude.
My bad.
I'm unpausing. How dare you? He paused our recording right after he did that.
I feel bad. I'm sorry. I
full-on gastrointestinal movement.
You should feel bad, but we get to rib you. We get to rib you on recording. You don't get to pause and bail yourself out.
Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I let out air through my mouth. There it was.
It's not getting edited out.
I realized that my mic wasn't muted when Payton started laughing, and I was like, oh no. I always mute my mic. People know that. You guys have to tell me sometimes to unmute it because you guys don't let me talk.
I was looking at my other tab. I was going to start getting into the weeds with this guy we're about to talk about for Mizzou, and so I just kind of talked through because I thought you did it on purpose. I was like, oh, he's just letting one out just to grind my gears. They're already trolling me about the Pacers.
We got you. Peyton and I just added it to the soundboard. It wasn't me. I just made the face.
You just made the face to match it up. Yeah.
I've thought about making a 50-minute recording of myself, like just nodding my head over and over and occasionally talking, and just seeing how long it would take you guys would notice. It's like on the show.
It's like in Ferris Bueller when he ditches school, laying in the bed with the recording. I love that. That's genius.
I stole it from a Dude Perfect video.
Nice. Triston Newson Jr. is the name. This tweet from Jeff Borzello. Weber State transfer Triston Newson. I'm going with Sane if it's incorrect, Mr.
I think Sane is correct.
I think Sane is right, but if it's not Sane, I apologize. From Weber State, he's hearing from Washington, Missouri, NC State, Mississippi State, San Jose State, LSU, and Texas State.
San Jose State and Texas State were some curveballs there.
Yeah, you got to throw. He gets sent the list. You got to tweet the list. Hearing from a bunch of those schools. Interesting player, junior out of Everett, Washington. 5'10", 175, which does kind of pop out. Not a big guy in basketball terms by any means, but a an intriguing player. 32 games last year, started all of them. 17.5 points per game on about 45, 35, and 90 shooting splits. 89.6 officially from the free throw line. That ranked 11th in the country in free throw percentage. Also averaged around 4.5 assists, just under 2.5 rebounds, and over a steal per game. So obviously a guard option. Very intriguing to me when you look at his KenPom. He's, you know, 2.3 assist to turnover ratio. Top 100 in the country is roughly 2.6 from last year. I mentioned the free throw rate. He was in the top 200 in assist rate. Top 10 around in the Big Sky and a lot of those shooting metrics. Only a couple of big-time opponents that he played against. They were actually both Utah and Utah State. Did not do so hot against the Aggies. 3 points, 1 of 8 shooting, 3 assists, 5 rebounds, but had 13 points, 4 boards, 4 assists, and a steal against Utah.
Man, Utah sucked.
Utah did stink. They did get one of my other names. I'm forgetting who it is off the top of my head, but yeah, your guys' thoughts. This feels with where we're at in the portal cycle now, and with how much Mizzou's in need of a guard. Sane feels like a pretty decent option based on the metrics alone here.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, considering where we're at in the portal, it was clear Missouri made an emphasis on getting its front court settled first, which I think is a good strategy because there's a lot more good guards in the portal than front court players, and that's true almost every year. But still, like, it's a more limited pool you're selecting from here. Sane certainly seems like a very capable ball handler. Great assist numbers, great turnover numbers, as you mentioned. His usage rate is not sky high. Weber State wasn't a horrible team. They were right around top 200 on Torvik. So I like to see that. Seems like he's capable of stepping out and hitting a 3 every so often. I worry a bit about the size. Especially moving up to the SEC level. I worry a little about the fact that he was pretty bad on close twos, or just rather pedestrian in the Big Sky. Because in general, the Big Sky transfers kind of sketch me out a bit. I don't think guys from there typically, it's not always the case. I mean, Dalton Connect came from the Big Sky.
You beat me to it.
But typically I don't love how guys transfer up from that conference. And he's smaller, but again, very limited pickings at this point in time. Certainly like the way he looks as a ball handler. So maybe there's something you can sink your teeth into here if you're Dennis Gates.
Dennis Gates pointed this out at the ZOU event in St. Charles on Wednesday that Missouri got Jaden Stone and Sean Phillips a little bit later in the transfer cycle. So sometimes you do find contributors and sometimes starters, really, both of those guys later on in the portal. So we'll see how that kind of shakes out for Missouri. What's really left. There's 3 open roster spots right now. I think we all can kind of assume together that only 2 of those will be filled. I think it behooves everyone, most teams, to probably leave that last one open, especially for a team like Missouri, which probably won't have the deepest rotation again. And, even if it does, you're not going to use all 15 players.
I don't know, Kenny, if I'm not talking about how they have an 11-man roster by September, I don't know what we're doing, because that's what we're doing last year.
They already have an 11-man roster. Rotation.
Yeah, rotate. That's what I meant. Sorry.
They've already lost some guys too. I mean, injuries happen too. Like that applies to that too, Jack. Like leaving that spot open if they want to add someone, or eligibility rules could get a complete overhaul here soon, and maybe we'll have a better understanding that they can't really add guys like some of these other schools did this last year. But with that as well, I don't think Mizzou's really looking for a starter at this point. A lot of these guards will be in that rotation spot, 6-man, possibly picking up starts here and there. We've seen Dennis Gates change up his lineup depending on, who's hot or the best fits. And I think right now you're just looking for some stable point guards, just stable guard play in general, with efficient shooting splits as well.
Yeah, it's interesting because he hasn't really hit on that super well, save for like a Caleb Grill in terms of these guards that can come in and try to give you something. I mean, Marquez Warwick didn't quite pan out. What?
Demoy
was a starter.
Oh, I thought so was Grill, wasn't he?
No, I mean, Grill was your bench. You brought him off the bench.
I don't think Grill started until
no, you're right. He was sixth man of the year, wasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, I'm talking like those reserve guards, exactly like Kenny's saying, whether it's a specialist or someone that can fill in, to give guys like Jason Crow and Jameer Jones some reprieve or to deal with foul trouble. I mean, you've got, Marquez Warwick didn't really pan out. Guys like Kurt Lewis. Of course, I guess, Sean East was kind of that in his first year before, of course, then he was the main man and the only man really on that 2023-2024 team. So, it will be interesting to see who he ends up going with. And it does make it harder to pick and to find some of those guys that can be impactful, but it's certainly not impossible. I do have, I made those tiers a while ago. Safe to say, I don't have anyone else in my give a cartoonish size bag of money tier anymore. Those guys just aren't really in the portal. But I threw Tijan Sane in my frisky and fun tier. The other two names I still have in there that have not found a new spot: Christian Harmon out of Arkansas State and Kennard Davis from BYU. Davis, I know, entered he was an early entry for the NBA draft. I think pretty safe to say he will go through here some feedback and come back to college. So he is still in the transfer portal. And then the three guys in my Trey Gamillion good role player tier, which is maybe more what Kenny was talking about. Isaac Burns out of South Dakota. My guy Okechukwu Okiki still needs a landing spot, the Albany big. And then Kyrie Walker, who went in the portal very early or said he was going to college very early in the process, still has not been picked up by a team. So those are the guys still kind of left from some of those lists. But you can now throw Sane in amongst that. We'll see what Dennis chooses to do. Oh, Kenny, you unmuted yourself. I was ready.
I know. I was thinking about saying something, thinking about it.
Like that you unmuted yourself and then thought about it. This is a big gap. I thought you were going to burp again.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Now you got to think it. Now you got to think.
No, I mean, I lost my train of thought. You just
3-point shooter, ball handler. Those are what you need out of your guards.
I just need Caleb Grill again. I miss Caleb Grill. He was so helpful. He's just a specialist. He knew what he needed to do. You knew what you're going to get from him. That Mississippi State game, I'll never forget it. And you won't forget. You won't forget quick hits. Kenny, was that you again? Or was that I can't tell anymore which is which, a bodily function or a soundboard. We will kick it to a break, come back on the other side. Okay, quick hits time. We'll finish out the show. You can't bet this on FanDuel, but I'm going to go over under 2 times. We have to pause because my computer screws up. Jerseys of the week. We'll start with Kenny. What's your jersey of the week? Who is your jersey of the week? Whomst? Wherefore our jersey of the week?
Yeah, I think it would be cool if we could do like our own prop, and it could just be like, how many times does Jack's computer crash? But there might be some people saying you're doing it on purpose, which I'm sure.
I don't think though. Yeah, I don't think it. I think we're a little too in control of that. I don't think we can. Yeah. I don't think we could make that. But you're right. Get at us,
cool. FanDuel. More mini camp invites. One that we forgot to mention on Monday's show. Former Missouri center Connor Tollison got a mini camp invite with the 49ers, and then former Tigers linebacker Triston Newson got 2, one with the Chiefs and one with the Atlanta Falcons. I'll lump in another guy with the Chiefs, Xavier Lloyd. Only spent one season at Missouri. Started his career at Kansas State as a walk-on, put up some really good numbers at Illinois State, and then came to Mizzou as a backup and played, a little bit more in the bowl game due to some transfers. But he gets that local invite from the Kansas City Chiefs. So that's the latest on those invites for the guys who weren't drafted.
Kenny titled this segment in our script Tollison because he doesn't care about Triston Newson.
You can't not care about Triston Newson. I love
this. Is what's his name? Rules. Oh man, now I'm really stupid. Who was the guy who left for North Carolina? Mekhi Bayer. This is a Mekhi Bayer podcast.
Yeah. Good one.
Kenny
Payton,
got to interview him, is why.
Your
That's not true. That is not true. I've maybe DM'd him. I've never interviewed him.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't interview him for that story? Oh, that's right. You talked to his
high school coach.
High school coach. That's right. My jersey of the week is going to be more like a golf polo. It's going to be a golf themed segment for me. Kenny's wearing a golf polo. I was earlier.
I'm not.
It's going to go to, I don't know, Rory McIlroy, let's say, because the end appears to be nigh for Live Golf. Golf Digest actually kind of had a big kind of story here. Just in, Golf Digest has learned several agents for Live players have reached out to the PGA Tour about a return. The terms won't be as friendly as Brooks Koepka's. So yeah, for those that don't know, it was reported that Live Golf is likely losing its financial backing from Saudi Arabia's public investment fund. It's believed to be happening after the season. So that could mean the end of the league, but certainly seems like everyone is kind of flocking back to PGA if it's possible. But does not seem like the terms are going to be very nice. Brooks was kind of given an out because he left on really his own accord. Patrick Reed kind of is going through the DP World Tour and will get back a year after his last Live event. Don't think they're going to be very, very forgiving to the rest of the Live Golf, field. Of course, Bryson's the big name, John Rahm. But I mean, guys like Cam Young, Ian Poulter are over there. Phil Mickelson, I don't know about him. He's kind of getting up there in age, but it'll be interesting to see how they make their way back.
That's one. This is good reminding for my editing later, actually. This is good. Goodbye, Live Golf. Good riddance. I hope everyone's back on the PGA Tour.
I certainly won't shed a tear.
My jersey of the week. I'm going back to minicamp season, and I appreciate Kenny letting me have this one and not including it with Triston Newson and Connor Tollison. Sterling Webb, you got a minicamp invite to the Bills. I was very excited when you guys informed me of this news. My guy Sterling Webb. Need I remind people? 2025, 75.1 defensive grade, 75 pass rush grade. Bills are getting a dog. I'm hopeful for Sterling Webb. I got to find a new. I need to make it like an award, like the Sterling Webb Memorial. Jack has all the stock and maybe no one else does award. I don't know, something like that for next season. But listen, 20 tackles, 2 sacks last year. Good portal story. 2 years at New Mexico State, came up and had success in the SEC. I'm rooting for you, Sterling Webb. Sterling Webb can say, if no one else got me, Jack got me.
I would certainly actually prefer to have Sterling Webb on the team this year. I think it would be helpful.
That's true.
Did he block a punt or was it Toriano Pride? Or a field goal? Someone blocked a field goal, right? Against Mississippi State?
When did he block a field goal?
I don't remember
Mississippi
him blocking
State?
a field goal.
I don't. Yeah, that Mississippi State was such a fever dream of a game. The only thing I remember from it was Tom Hart mentioning the drink. I want to get like the big Fortune 500 sponsors at Faurot Field.
It was not a block.
No, there was a blocked something. I kind of do remember.
I'm seeing botch snap 60-yard return by Toriano.
Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. Mississippi State game was so.
Where was that? What quarter?
What quarter? That's a great question. I don't know. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm reading it off the AI overview.
Oh, boy.
Oh, let's move on.
I just looked up Missouri Mississippi State block field goal. I had to read it fast. And now I need to stall for time because I closed the
Dins.
I'm like no capping. He's the main bird.
Shawnee's main bird of the week. Kenny.
All roads lead to Greenville, South Carolina. Former Missouri big man Jordan Butler will finish out his college career with Furman. He started at Missouri his freshman year. Started games, so he played it. He might have started a game.
He started games.
Yeah, he started games his freshman
games,
year.
I think.
And then he played sophomore, junior year at South Carolina. Now he'll wrap things up at Furman.
I think this is probably a good level for him. Just kind of didn't really ever progress, I think, the way anyone really hoped. Gets to stay close to home as well. So good for Jordan Butler.
I agree. Great mid-major program to go to.
Yep.
Clark in a straitjacket. I want to shout out one of the best calls of all time.
Butler Pegues. Good.
Good.
Furman
Payton,
leads.
Your main bird.
My main bird of the week. It's going to be 2 items from Mizzou women's golf. If you're looking for a bird connection, birdie, eagle, double eagle, albatross. Those are terms in golf. Mizzou women's golf is going to compete as a team at the Stanford Regional. They're the 5 seed there. The 1 seed, do you guys have a guess who the 1 seed is? Stanford. So there you go. Mizzou women's golf will be there. And another item, as Kenny is on his phone and won't switch the tab, is that Abby Dobson will be playing at the U.S. Women's Open, or Women's U.S. Open. So she claimed victory in the qualifier and will play in the field. That's all for me.
Good news for Mizzou women's golf.
Big week on the links for me.
Big week on the links for you. Yeah, you've been busy. Do you feel back in your element?
Yes, I love golf. Golf is the best, dude. It really is.
It's pretty fun.
I work with links every day.
Eric Links.
Yeah, you used to. Not anymore. Sadly. My Shawnee's main bird of the week. We're gonna go back. I'm going back to the world of wrestling. Another transfer portal edition for Mizzou. Please, everyone, subscribe for the YouTube. You will not get this content anywhere else. Can we?
What is he doing? Is this wrestling to him?
We're full screening him. Do that again.
No, I'm embarrassed. No,
at 113 pounds in the blue corner. Mizzou's adding a portal commit from Ohio State out of the wrestling ranks. Luke, and I'm sorry, Luke, I'm going to butcher it. I assume it's just Geog.
Weren't you really excited to talk about this?
I am excited to talk about this.
Guy's name?
But that's his name is not related to why, and I kind of didn't realize I should have looked up a pronunciation guide before, and I'm sorry, Luke. We'll call him Luke G. over from Ohio State. You can see it on the screen. This is another reason to subscribe to the YouTube. Anyway, 2-time NCAA qualifier. He went 39-21 in his career so far. 18 of those wins came last year. He wrestles at 197 pounds. This is, of course, the second edition in the transfer portal from the Big Ten for Mizzou. Zan Fugit from Wisconsin also came over. Mizzou last year, as a reminder, 14th in the NCAA tournament.
How'd you pronounce Fugit's name the first time?
I'm not going to do that again. I'm sorry, Zan.
Right.
2 All-Americans from last year, Cam Steed and Aiden Sinclair. Both are eligible to return, by the way. Now, you guys might be wondering, what's the bird connection here? I didn't share it off of the bat. Well, you see, good old Luke here from Ohio State. He comes from a high school that I can only describe as a private Catholic all-boys high school.
Been there.
You have been there, Kenny. And actually, they also share your mascot. He went to, I think it was St. Francis. I actually forgot to write it down in Ohio. And they're the Eagles.
This guy was so excited. He didn't know how to pronounce the guy's name, and then he forgot the high school he went to.
That was the whole payoff of the bit.
He went to St. Edward.
St. Edward.
Arlington,
Thank you.
Ohio.
Thank you.
Not
They're
quite
also the Eagles. Isn't that
Saint
crazy?
Blank Eagles. There you go, Kenny.
Is every private
All right.
Christian all-boys school with a Saint in their name just the
Give me a
Eagles?
second. I downloaded an MP4 on how to pronounce his name. It's loading.
This is the kind of high quality content everyone subscribes for.
Oh man, this is going to take a while to load.
All right, why don't we move on?
I will point out, I asked Brad Smith was talking at ZOU tour, and I asked him about Luke, and he said he hasn't officially signed yet.
You mean
Luke
Brian
Geog.
Smith?
Yeah, sorry,
Geog?
Brian Smith. Yeah. I was talking to Brian Smith, and my question I gave him was asked him about Luke, and he said he hasn't signed yet. I can't talk about him, but he's great. That's what he said. And then he told he like turned to the staff, and they were like, he didn't say he just said it's great kind of thing, and because he can't speak about him yet,
right?
And the staff was like almost got you in trouble there, and because he's not supposed to be talking about him until he's official.
That's funny.
I thought that was funny.
But yeah, I was excited to mention that. All right, Luke Geog. I was excited to talk about him because he goes to, it's the exact description of Kenny's
Eagles.
Kenny, yeah, Saint Blank Blank, private Christian, all boys, Eagles.
Do you now remember what it was? I told you.
No, I'm saying it was Saint Edward, but I'm saying Saint
Okay,
Blank.
I just want to know if you remember.
Yes, I remember.
Okay. Whoa. Oh.
The reason I didn't write it down is because I actually wrote in my notes specifically, are every private Catholic all-boys high school's mascot the Eagles? And so I didn't write his one specifically. I just introduced it differently than I scripted. Anyway, best thing you learned.
Best thing I learned this week. It was a big week for in the NCAA for getting news like that kind of impacts the college basketball level and football, of course, and all other sports for this as well. But it came from Pete Thamel. News dropped on Monday. NCAA president Charlie Baker told ESPN today that he's, quote, pretty optimistic, end quote, that the new age-based eligibility proposal will happen. The D1 board of directors met today and will recommend to not implement this rule retroactively for graduates / exhausted eligibility. Quote, if you've used up your eligibility, you've used it up, end quote, Baker told ESPN of the tenor of the discussion. So there you go. It sounds like this 5 for 5 is going to happen. There will certainly be kinks to be worked out, but the biggest question I had was, oh my Lord, are they going to open Pandora's box and like grandfather everyone in, which I thought was a horrible idea. That does not appear to be their plan. Now we'll see if that holds up, if that changes, if it does go into effect. Still not at the finish line with this yet, but I think it's a good thing that at least now the plan is not to grandfather people in. Let the Tyler Nichols of the world be upset about it. I don't care what he thinks. All right.
Why'd you pick him specifically?
Because he's the one that tweeted about it.
Oh, not the one that killed Mizzou's 2020.
He also did notably really hurt Mizzou's season last year. But yeah, and of course, I'm sure there will be lawsuits of some kind. But for now, based off what we know, it seems like 5 for 5 is coming, and it does not seem like it will be retroactively given to players. So guys like Mark Mitchell, Sean Phillips can't come back.
Nor Perry Ellis. I know a lot of people were
if
he had anywhere else.
Svi Mikhailuk, I was really hoping might have a couple years left.
Frank Mason, you're done. No more.
Devontae Graham.
Oh man, I'm gonna get in trouble saying this on this level podcast.
Don't even say you liked watching Devontae Graham play. Don't say it. Just keep it to yourself.
Okay. All right.
There.
Duly noted. That's fine. Kenny, please move on.
Hate Devontae Graham.
Best thing I learned this week, I thought I'd throw Josh Holloway's name into this section just so we could talk about him. He visited Mizzou, Texas A&M transfer guard. He visited West Virginia as well. It just didn't seem like the Tigers were overly pursuing him in that commitment. But he announced his commitment to Memphis on Wednesday. And I thought just a kind of a fun note about it is that Stephen Wright is now at Memphis. He didn't recruit, of course, Josh Holloway at Mizzou. He's already gone by then, but I did find that just a little bit funny. He did attend Oak Hill Academy. I don't think that's in Memphis. Yeah, that's in Mississippi, like right across the border. But he is from Memphis, so pretty cool for him to go home for that last year of eligibility.
And the hunt for the backcourt continues for Missouri.
Continues.
Stephen Wright, man. What was your guys' favorite Stephen Wright moment?
I don't know, like some people know this, but I have the Friday file every Friday, It's like that. It's like my thing.
Okay,
and
yeah.
One time I wrote a story about Stephen Wright for the Friday file.
I think he had
about what? What did he do?
He was recruiting a point guard at Overtime Elites named Cam Mercer. He had known him for a long time. That was what the story was about.
I thought he had like a Dennis had a hold me back moment that he was involved in once, but I probably just memory holding that. My best thing I learned this week, Mizzou softball, a win over UMKC. I will not call it Kansas City, just like I will not call it Indiana University or IU Indy. It is IUPUI forever. Mizzou softball got a win over UMKC. Sanai Hill, first career home run. She also had a 2-run RBI single in this game and is 9 for 14 in Mizzou's last 5 games. So she's on a bit of a tear. Abby Hay also had a home run. Gracie Britton, 2-run RBI double. This, of course, sets up a big final weekend of the regular season. Mizzou will play Tennessee, number 11 in the country.
Correct me, Missouri is 1 game above 500 or 2?
I think it's 2 now with that. I did not look at the schedule after I saw this, but
so
I think it's
they
2.
win 1 this weekend. They're probably good to make the NCAA tournament because I have seen people say like
it's 1. They're 27 and 26.
Wow.
So.
That's all right. Game on. Good luck. They really can't afford to miss the tournament again.
Jack Knowlton.
Yes.
Who did Purdue play in the first round of this past March's NCAA tournament?
Purdue and men's basketball played. I was there. It was. Why am I forgetting?
Queens.
Payton.
Queens. That's right. Duh.
Wrong. Played
no.
Yes. No. It will always be Queens.
Elon consumed Queens.
What? Consumed.
You didn't know
this? You didn't know this?
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
So it's Elon like Charlotte now?
Well, I don't know if they're changing the name, but all of Queens got absorbed to Elon for athletics.
So is there a Queens basketball program anymore?
No, it's all Elon.
That was the last time.
Yep. They made their first and last NCAA tournament.
Are
I can't believe you didn't know that.
Kidding me?
No.
Where have you been? I feel like this is something you would know. It's like right up your alley.
This is something I ordinarily would know. This is big news.
Yeah.
Like
big news that happened months ago.
Sorry to break it to you in this way.
When St. Francis Brooklyn shuttered and the Terriers were no more, that was a big deal to me.
Yeah,
wow.
No more Queens.
How about that?
Your state loses a team.
That was
sad.
The best lie we've ever pulled, Jack. That is the best
Oh my
lie.
God, are you guys lying right now? That's well done. Hats off to you. You had me. That was the most believable lie you've ever told.
We were texting about it before.
That was a good job. Good job to the both of you. That was awesome.
That's a pretty believable one. That's a good one.
Yeah, Kenny's also the reason I have trust issues in real life, but it's okay.
All right, best beats of the week. Shout out to FanDuel. They gave us some lines and some odds on the winners of the 2020, 7 national championship in football. We each picked one. Never too early to start up predicting. I've seen a lot of 2027 NFL draft stuff, and that's made me, kind of excited looking ahead to the season just because the class is going to be so good. Obviously, a lot of players who are probably going to be first rounders on some of these teams. Peyton, why don't you go first?
Notre Dame plus 700. Why? I'm glad you asked. I don't know.
Why?
I think CJ Carr played well. I think that defense, they have the best corner in the country, mind you. I don't know the running back situation. I will fully admit that. That's obviously
it's the Hannibal guy, isn't it?
Is it Aeneas Williams?
Yeah, I think it is.
Because I heard there was a freshman that was kind of fighting for carries too, but I don't know the whole how they're going to break it down.
I don't know. I just know Aeneas Williams is
but I don't know. They feel like they're going to have a bit of a target on their back because many people, myself included, thought it was kind of weak the way they handled being snubbed from the playoff. But I don't know. I think they're pretty good. It's not going to be right, but if I had picked anyone else, it wouldn't have been right either.
All right. Kenny, who are you going with? National champs 2027.
Georgia breaks the streak. Georgia
Sick
plus
'em.
900. I think a lot of these odds are pretty good. The ones that are on there and kind of was just wanted to be different. And it would be 4 years. No, 5 years. 2022 was the last time Georgia won. Payton and I both like Gunnar Stockton. I think second-year starter Gunnar Stockton would be pretty good for Georgia and the Bulldogs. I think it's a really good. I think a good field right now. There's a lot of questions, I think, for a lot of these teams. Notre Dame, I just reading some of Jack Sobel's work, it's really just national championship or bust. I mean, that's the mentality. I mean, this Irish team wants to win it. They didn't make the playoff last year and got snubbed, whatever you want to say. Didn't really make the most of some of those early regular season games. And so, I mean, this is a Notre Dame team that's fighting for a lot. And I think a team like Georgia and just what Kirby Smart has built there, I think they want to get back there.
I fall for Georgia every year.
Yeah.
I've really tried last year to not, but damn it, Gunnar Stockton's really good. And I thought they were going to at least make the national title game. That Ole Miss team was a whirlwind. That was kind of a team of destiny for a bit. So props to them. They played inspired after the Kiffin debacle of an exit. But I don't know. I do kind of agree with you. I think Georgia, I'm liking what I'm seeing from Georgia. But
so both good picks. I'm not going to argue against it. I am going to go with a third different team, though. I've made it well known. I'm probably my favorite, high profile Eli Drinkwitz coach in America is Dan Lanning. I'm going to predict it's his year. Dante Moore got a ton of hype going into last year. It's going to be the same thing again. I think a lot of it does kind of hinge on him. But I'm going to take Oregon. I believe they are plus 800 if I'm not mistaken. 850, excuse me, right now on FanDuel. I like Dante Moore. I think he can take another step forward. This wide receiver core they have is pretty nuts. First of all, they're going to get Evan Stewart back. I am a renowned Evan Stewart enjoyer. I was very sad when he got injured last year and had to miss most of the season. They also have DeCorian Moore, who is a phenomenal true freshman for them out of Duncanville there in Texas. And then Jeremiah McClellan, of course, is a really good receiver too. On defense, still a couple recognizable names there. Mateo Youngalale is great. They've got Coy Perch at safety. They have Bear Alexander, if you guys remember him. He's kind of had a crazy sort of career, but still a ton of talent there. It seems like it's he's gotten it together a little bit with that defense and that defensive tackle spot, and he's a beast. So hopefully he can maybe have a big year. They do lose this guy. That is a big ding on their aura. Bryce Betcher being gone.
I, in theory, agree with you. The offense should be high powered, especially with getting Moore back when I don't think many expected it after the season he had until kind of the more and more momentum built towards it. That said, every big game they've played under Lanning, like the Pac-12 title game a few years ago, the Big Ten, was it the title game last year? I don't remember. The two playoff games against Ohio State and Indiana they've played. It's not just that they lose, they don't look like they belong half the time. And that concerns me. So I'm in prove it to me mode with Dan Lanning at the moment.
That's fair. We could be entering the mantle with him of the kind of the Franklin can't win the big one type thing. Yeah. So we'll see.
I mean, the Washington games a few years ago, even when everyone in the world knew Oregon really kind of was the better team, and they still couldn't beat them.
Yeah.
And I mean, Washington is like, that's Oregon's rivalry, man. Like, that's not a game you can lose in that setting and just kind of wash your hands of it. Like, that sticks with people.
Yeah, we'll see. I definitely can't argue against that. But I love Dan Lanning, so I hope he overcomes it. So that'll be my pick. There you go.
Fighting for clicks, fighting for wins.
Fighting for wins. Good show, everybody. Payton, your joke.
Guys, I'm excited about this one. This one comes from our favorite TV series, The Today Show. Guys, I was going to tell a sodium joke, but you know what I thought?
You thought you combined it with baking soda and...
Nope.
Oh, no, it's not sodium. Never mind.
I was going to tell a sodium joke, but then do you know what I thought?
What?
I was going to tell a sodium joke. Then I thought, nah.
That's good. That's good.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember what it was. It's
periodic table of elements joke.
That becoming a like competitive thing for kids in high school was so funny. Like being able to like memorize it. That was such a flex for some people, I feel like.
I'm fascinated by the rare earth minerals on them.
That's fair.
What in the world? You lied to me again. Is this a real thing or not? What is this? Is it real or what? Is there no Queens basketball?
No, I was just joking. That's not a real
so
article.
You just made that up.
The article, yeah. I just made it.
I did like a Canva thing for it. All right, everybody. We'll sign off. If no one's got anyone else to say.
Got him!
I think my computer is glitching again because I'm hearing it like, unless Peyton's just pausing it. I'm going to end the show before that happens. Thank you everyone for watching and listening. Pray for me on this edit. And we will see you all next time.